And then at 10 o'clock when it ends, and we'll have a couple of live auctions as well. I actually have a autographed Taylor Swift guitar coming for a live auction with a letter of authenticity.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I tried to get her to come present it, but I was told no. Let's see if she just shows up.
Sometimes you got to take what you can
get. Yeah, we'll see if she shows up, right? Maybe next year. But super cool that I have that, for people to bid on.
Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. Don't give me copyright flag though.
No. You can cut this out.
I sounded like a zombie.
Oh.
Just.
Yeah, in order to grow, you gotta have like some kind of goals.
Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. Whatever time you're listening in, wherever you're listening from. Shout out to my Spotify listenership, Apple and Google Podcasts, and YouTube if you're watching in. Thanks for giving me a reason to get dressed. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here. Be present and recognize that it's now, right now. Whether your right now is working, flying, running, driving, be thankful we're alive, baby. Failure can be frightening. However, as Winston Churchill reminds us, success is all about going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. This is I Will Not Lose podcast, where we set out to prove everything is learned from failure, and we must persevere and recognize it as one step closer to success. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Let's jump right in. Okay.
It was so funny because
do
you know Kate Hughes?
Yeah.
So she interviewed me on Monday on her show, and I've known her for probably 12, 15 years. And I guess leading up to my show, part of the show, she kept talking about me and she was calling me Meszler. So I got there and I told her, and she's like, all right, so I've been saying her name wrong all day. I've only known her for 15 years.
Yeah.
I was lying for most of the time. So
it's the way you read it, but it's fine. It happens. People still ask me how to spell Ortiz, how to say Ortiz. I'm like, I think that's like Smith. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I run into a ton of people.
Well, Kate said the same thing. People don't know how to say her last name. They call her like
Hugis.
And it's all different weird names. I'm like, you should roll with that.
Yeah, for real. Just pronounce it or just say it's pronounced like that. When somebody pronounces it Hughes, correct them.
Yeah, right.
Just to break it up. But that's awesome. We're going to get started here.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in again to I Will Not Lose podcast. I'm here with Lisa Meszler. We're going to be talking about just catching up. Known Lisa for a long time. We've been on and off each other's radar. Been seeing you do big things, grow. The past couple of years have definitely been a ride. So we like to talk about success learned from failure and kind of what does success mean to you, where we're at, the journey that brought us here, and then this big event that you have coming up, which I'd love to get to. We can dedicate quite some time to that.
Great.
So tell the people who you are.
I'm Lisa Meszler. I'm a commercial real estate agent in the Lehigh Valley. Moved here in 99, started working in real estate, probably about I'm going to say 12 years ago, 14 years ago, somewhere around there. Shortly after starting, I went into the commercial sector. And that's kind of where I've sat with that while raising my kids. I've raised my kids as a single mom since they're 5 years old. I have 20-year-old twins, boy, girl.
Oh, wow. What an age.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's like from 15 to 16, they're finding themselves and becoming their own person. So they're like not quite adults yet. Like, I mean, even if you think how I wasn't totally mature at that age, there was a lot of learning. I'm still not totally mature at this age,
Are any of us? I hope not, because once you do, it's what's worth living, right?
Yeah.
Got to still play.
That's amazing. So you raised them as a single mom since they were 5?
Yes.
What sort of things are they into?
So they took my music talent and ran with that. So they're both very talented in music. They just got their associate's degrees at Northampton Community College. My son is moving on to either Drexel or Lehigh. He hasn't made a decision yet for his bachelor's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Layla's touring Temple right now. She's doing a college tour. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they're on college tours.
That's crazy. It goes so fast these last 2 years. I can't believe they got their associates already. It flew by.
I can't imagine.
More so than high school. Oh yeah, flew by.
Can imagine when we get there.
Mhm.
So how has the journey been with commercial real estate? 14 years is a long run. That's probably about when I met you. I'm
Mhm.
trying to put a finger on it, but it was probably around 12 to 14 years ago. What is it? 2014. So 11, 12, because I had just gotten started with design endeavors.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd only been doing it a few years at the time. I started that around 2011, like doing it really commercially. So probably shortly after that. But how has is it always just like a 45-degree angle up? Do you just double every year or?
No, it's kind of like this. Like last year was like this and this year's like this. Yeah, since COVID, it's been really wild ride. 2020 was my best year. This is going to be my second best year, possibly my best year. But then like right after that, it got a little wonky. It's just hard. It's hard, really hard now. You know, your interest rates are up, your prices are up. It's the first time in history that's ever happened. Usually your prices will come down as your interest rates go up. So it's a very strange market and it makes it difficult. People still are not really selling as much. The market's been thin for years. So I'm more of a buyer agent. Makes it complicated because there's not a lot out there for my buyers. And what is out there, again, since there's not a lot of product, the prices are so escalated, they just don't make sense. So it's really hard to get a deal done. I kind of walked more into doing land deals,
Okay.
working with developers.
Do you have deals that were kind of on the back burner that you were working on for a while that are slowing down because of the interest rates? Like, do you have old business that's kind of slowing because of that?
Like I always worked with investors. It's really hard to find a good investment property. So every once in a blue moon, you find something and you can get it sold. But it's been a while since I've been able to find something that really makes sense. My investors are, they're not new investors. They're very established. They know what they want. They know what they're doing. They're not going to buy they'd rather hold their money.
Feel like it.
Yeah, they would rather put it somewhere else. They're not going to, unless you're young. Like when I have a couple new investors and they're younger. So it makes more sense for them to pay a little bit more for a good property. You look at something like, I don't know, say it's like at the Triangle in Emmaus or down on the Square in Easton, in a really good location. The price is going to be much higher than you would like it to be. But if it's in a really good location, you can work with that because you're young and you're going to hold it. If you're going to hold it for 15, 20 years, it still makes sense. If you're my age or older, it doesn't really make as much sense to buy something that you have to hold for 20 years, or 15 years, whatever that number looks like. Yeah. So you can be a little more aggressive if you're younger and you're still going to make money. You can still build a portfolio. So that's kind of how I counsel my clients. So my clients that I've had like the past 10, 15 years, a lot of them are just holding still until some things change.
Yeah, because there's things outside of your control, but you have to react to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So I did have a question. I saw something posted and I didn't fact check it or anything, but they were saying there was going to be $4,000 apartments at the waterfront. Is that realistic? Is that where things are going? Or?
I don't know. I don't get it. You have the Commodore down in Easton. I don't think they're fully leased. They're at, I think they're around 3,000. I'm not positive how much they are charging for the Boyd down there. You can look at their website, but they're not cheap and they're smaller apartments. They're more like they're very small. The floor plans are small. It feels more like city feel.
Okay.
I sit with and I don't understand it because if I had that kind of money as a kid, I would go buy a house.
Right. That's why I'm trying to understand the target, because from what I hear, they're going to be filled if they sell the waterfront at that. But even like Strata downtown, it's just the offering that you get from the city versus living there. The only thing I could think is like if it was a second property that you didn't have, if you traveled to Allentown a lot. and you spent a lot on hotel fees, I guess. I don't know. But I was just curious to know, like, what is it, just a supply and demand thing? If they're going to fill them, they'll keep jacking the price up, or?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lack for people that want to be tenants, which again, I don't understand. I'm teaching my kids to stay at home for as long as they can and save their money and go purchase something.
Right.
It makes no sense to go spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month on a rental plus utilities. They'll never be able to save money. They'll never purchase. They'll never own anything because you can't pay that kind of rent unless you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, which most people in the Valley are not doing, not getting out of college. How are these kids ever going to afford to buy something? It doesn't make sense to me.
Right. I mean, it was even that way. I'm trying to think because I'm 37 now. But it didn't make sense. I think it was around 2008. So maybe that was a great buying opportunity. Maybe we missed that at that time, but it just didn't ever seem like there was when you read back about, the 80s, 90s, when, you can get a $500-$600 mortgage or whatever it was, to the cost of living now. Everything just seems like you can check it's easy to slowly inflate, but if you go and you can check your Amazon orders or your grocery orders, if you were using Instacart, you can literally see what you paid for stuff. And it's like, wow, do I eat different? Do I change? Thank God I'm fortunate to the point where I don't have to really, I can enjoy my coffee. There's some people that would say take the $4 or $5 that you would drink from the coffee and invest it. And, you can't argue you would have something more then, but at what point do you cut away from life? There's a lot of luxuries or things that I don't do in order to be able to make everything keep moving and still invest in equipment and still have fun and still put money away. What do you just cut everything out? Do you just say, I'm not, I'm going to make my own coffee? That's even expensive.
Well, that's what makes
too.
it so hard to even purchase a house right now. You can make $100,000 a year, but you still can't afford much because the taxes, you have to take into account your property taxes and everything else on top of that. So you're still not able to afford like an average priced home, which is probably at this point, $450,000, somewhere around there. Who can afford that if they're just out of college? And if they're a 2-household income and you're a young couple, you're going to want to have kids. I would never advise my clients to put both of their incomes on there. You don't know what's going to happen when she gets pregnant. What if she can't work? What if the baby's sick and you can't, and you have to be home? Like that's what happened. My babies came prematurely. I was on bed rest my entire pregnancy. I couldn't work. I had to quit my job. I was on bed rest my entire pregnancy. They were born 10 weeks early. So I had to be home with them for the first few years because they couldn't be out there. They would have gotten sick. You can't forecast that. So if you have a young couple and they're both putting their incomes on that mortgage, they're going to lose their house if something like that happens. You don't want to do that. So to find a house that's under $300,000, it's like a flip property these days. Flips used to be like 50, 60, 80.
Right.
Now
Less
it's like
100,000.
Now it's like 350 and you walk in and you go, oh, this place needs help.
Yeah. And you're, oh man, at 350, couldn't imagine, but it'll be on the radar soon. So I'm curious about when you have people looking to invest with you and they're looking for you to essentially make them a decision that's going to affect their money. Like what kind of relationship do they get referred to you? How do they find you? Or
yeah, I mean, a lot of people get referred to me. I'm at that point where I'm getting a lot of referrals or like with the larger commercial properties, my last two or three clients, I asked who I had to thank for the referral because I just got calls out of the blue. They said, no, they just Google search commercial agent and then LoopNet comes up. And when they go onto LoopNet, I'm one of the top 7 commercial agents that they're seeing.
That's awesome.
So they call and it's all about who calls back.
That's awesome. But yeah, to have it set up where you can get business through Google, it's like
I never did anything. I don't know how to do any of that. I would love to have somebody do that for me. I'm sure I'd get more calls. I don't know. My name's just out there. I've been in the business a long time. I've done a lot of deals.
no, we can talk. And that part definitely helps. But when people put testimonials and they put them together, we'll talk off mic too, because that's something that I do. I have, at least in the past year and a half, if you search graphic designer near me, graphic design Allentown, I'm like one or two or three. And I get a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot. People think when you're the first on Google that it's just all raining referrals. Like it's still people's intent. There's only so many people that have that intent. So there's people I'm sure that Googled and didn't click. You could see a lot of people that search it, but just to be able to be there, Google's doing a better job of knowing who's who in the area. So I probably couldn't have ranked the way I did had I not been in business so long. And there's so many times where Tony Ortiz is tied with doing something with someone. So Google can see that. And the name of my company is Tony Ortiz, the designer. So that was intentional to be able to rank there. But it's insane. Anything you do nowadays, you need an entire team. You know,
Sounds that way. Yeah.
I ran into you at Reggae Fest. That was a beautiful event. That was a great weekend. And running the live, there was so many things I didn't think of. The way the sun was facing, you know, we set up and had everything in the shade and we're ready to go. And it's like, oh, that's right, the sun moves. So now, you know, I think by the time you came, we had the sheet up and we were just holding on for dear life. So you learn, and it's like, man, you know, shout out to Johnny Melendez, shout out to Eric Rodriguez that co-hosted with us for that event. Everything went well. They helped with setup and breakdown and stuff. But as far as running everything, 3 people's not enough. That's one thing. If I could take any success, learn from failure out of that, it would be like, okay, we would definitely need help. You know, I would need my son on deck. And that's one of the fun parts is, did you meet my son? Was he there when
I don't think so. No.
No, he was gone when that's right. Because when all the ruckus happened, I was thinking, where is he? And I was so glad he wasn't anywhere near that. But I didn't even tell you. I got no footage. There was something really, I mean, think about it. We're talking to a reverend about not spreading negative energy. We're talking about raising up from animalistic vibrations. Everything breaks out. I have footage of her praying, but the video's like scrambled. The one camera died. The live feed cut out.
You're kidding me.
No, when we were sitting here going through the footage, I said, oh, the Twitch stream was up for an hour. Let's check that. And if we lost that footage, then something demonic was really at work, because there was like, and I thought about it, and everything else was so peaceful and calm. That was their 3rd reggae fest. You know, that's the 2nd largest free reggae festival in the nation.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
We had one of the co-organizers, Michael Frisetto. Shout out to Mike Frisetto and Arts Quest, but we had him on the show, and he was talking about how they're planning on, I think there's one in Atlanta. I'm not sure. I'm not going to fact check it right now, but you don't want that kind of publicity. That was my point. Long story short, if that would have streamed live, you know, I intentionally didn't switch the camera to it. Just, you have a split second to think, and I'm just like, I'm so glad I didn't. Not that I would have put footage out. It would have been interesting to see. But after I saw the Twitch stream fail, I said, it just wasn't meant, like that energy wasn't meant to be shared. It's dead. That was it. And that moment though was crazy, and the matter of who we were interviewing.
Well, and I got to be real with you. That was so cathartic to watch what happened. I went home and told my kids, I said, okay, this is the craziest thing. And I know you're not going to believe me, but this is how it went down. I struggle with religion. I struggle with God. I think a lot of people struggle with all that stuff at some point in their life. I've had a lot of difficult things happen. So I've always struggled with it. I'm faithful. I have my faith. I don't do the church thing. God's everywhere. I don't need to walk into a building.
Right.
I don't need to talk to another human about the bad things that I do. Like I don't believe in that stuff. When that happened and she stood up and started praying on them, and literally, I mean, it was so odd. You and I talked about it. They kind of started moving away from us, and then they dispersed. They just
like a whole
it
wave.
Just stopped. And they walked away, and it was, and thank God, because like the one guy I told you, I was watching it very closely, and I saw his hand going into his shorts, and I was about ready to hit dirt. I thought he had a gun. He pulled out a blade. I think it looked like a box cutter. I was like, what is going on here? Like, that's crazy.
Switchblade. I talked to
It was a switchblade?
I talked to, it wasn't involved with the, I found out a little bit more about it. We're not going to talk too much about it because it was a peaceful event. But the point is, it wasn't related with Reggae Fest. It wasn't related with the Domino's tournament. They happened to be at it, but it wasn't like, the initial thought was everybody was drinking too much and, and I'm like, no, that's not what happened. It was people that had things going on outside of it. And
they ran into each other or whatever the case was.
Whatever.
Yeah. It wasn't a random act.
That's from what I understand. And then I just said, okay, well, nobody was hurt. Thank God. Badly, at least, that bystanders and stuff, So it was just, but yeah, we talked about the prayer. And the thing is, I haven't gone through all the footage, but I will get you your part with talking about the fundraiser that we're going to get into, so that we can use that for promotion. But just from when I went looking for at that exact moment, everything failed. And the one of them, you can hear her praying and you can hear people yelling and the mic's there. The only camera that didn't go was the one facing away that was faced on us. So you can see our reaction. You can see Eric get up. You can see me get up and console his daughter. It's all there, but all the stuff doesn't fail at once. Like I could see if one thing, I could see if one thing. Yeah. So that was a story. We were just sitting in here, me and Eric, and we're talking about how surreal it was. I shout out to Drew Breezy from, Drew from Sound Off Entertainment. I could have sworn you guys, I'll have to introduce you with him. He was on 69 News performing the song they were going to do for Reggae Fest in promotion for Reggae Fest the Friday before it. But he was going to come on the show. They didn't get a chance. He texted me. It was just a crazy day. And we're following up afterwards. And he's like, I don't remember it. I was there from 8 a.m. until 10:30, 11 p.m. in the sun the whole day between breakup, potting, and breakdown. We were talking for 10 plus hours, and I don't remember, like, it was all a flash. That it wasn't like I was sitting there like, oh, what time is it? I think I checked the time at all throughout the whole day. So it was just, it was an experience. I met a bunch of people. I followed up with them as well too. There was business cards left at my mic. So even when I was walking away, I don't know if people were shy when we were talking, but people were leaving. Do you remember when I showed you that it said the fear is real?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? I Googled it and it was an artist's Instagram. She's like a painter.
Oh, neat.
I would shout her out if I had the thing. So I DM'd her. I said, hey, sorry, I didn't get a chance to meet you. But, the point of, at least for me, it was networking as well as promoting the peace, promoting the love. And it wouldn't have been on brand to go viral for something so negative.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when you don't know how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. Imagine, let's just hypothetically say a gun did come out at an event and now you have a shooting or essentially a mass shooting and that's streamed. There's a reason why we don't see the footage come out from, we know it happens, but nah, man, my heart's beating. I'm just so glad that it didn't go that way. But
yeah, I mean, I was really concerned there for a minute when I was watching him and just keeping my eye on that hand to see what was going on.
Yeah, I missed that. So you were good there. I was focused on the kid for one part and where my son was and just scanning the guys because I didn't know if that was my son or what. But he, back to before we got sidetracked with that, I was going to ask if you met my son. He was on the podcast. He's about 14 years old. He sang in Radio City Music Hall with his school choir.
Oh,
He's
that's awesome.
Opened up for the Rockettes. So he's really into singing. He's going to be going to school for that over at Charter Arts School in Bethlehem. And he was on the podcast singing. And my co-host sings. So he said, you got to be able to sing on the spot. So he sings. We had the speakers going. There's people walking by. And Jaden was like, okay, on the spot, he's going to go. And he sang. He was also with me when, shout out to Rondo, a gentleman came up and he was potting with us. And when he found out Jaden was my son, he said, oh, you're like Bron and Bronny. He said, you're like LeBron and Bronny. So my son's like, you got to get that clip. That was so cool, Dad. Like he hasn't got into really like, he recorded his first song, but he's been watching me do it for years and his whole life. And I'm like, I can teach you this stuff. Like you can learn what these buttons do. He's like, no, I know it. I know. I see it on TikTok. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that's funny. I did meet him at the end when we were cleaning up before I scooted out. I do remember meeting him.
Oh, super cool. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot going on. It's a good year. You're on an up year. You have an event that you've been planning. Let's go into I'll let you talk about the event, but why are you doing this? In addition to having all the commercial deals that you have going on and as busy as that keeps you and all the networking that you have to do with that, why take on this endeavor?
So I'll go way back to when I was in college. My brothers and my best friend had a spinal stroke and became a quadriplegic. He was 21 years old when it happened. I was 19. And my mom just kind of ran with fundraising for him. None of us have ever done it before, but we just picked up because we had to. He needed, they needed an addition on their house. They needed a special van. They needed a special wheelchair. Yeah. Insurance doesn't cover all of it. So we just started fundraising and literally hosted a concert at our high school. We brought some musicians up from Philadelphia. One of my best friends from high school who was part of that gang is a musician. And so he brought up some guys from Philly and we had a big concert and we did a few other things. And so that was kind of like my first taste of helping, right? Volunteering, doing something good. And then, my kids were 4, I believe, when their uncle had gotten sick with cancer and literally is like that. He called me and the very next day I opened up a nonprofit and started fundraising because I didn't know what to do with it. Like that's how I was dealing with it all. It was terminal. He was not going to make it through. And I knew they were going to need help. So I did a pancake breakfast at Applebee's and we raised like $2,500 in 2 hours. Wow. And all the kids were little. So they were going around selling raffle tickets, with their sad little eyes. Please help my uncle. It was to watch these kids. There were probably out of all of our kids, there was probably like 10 of them or something like that, like going around, getting people to pay them. We made decent money in that morning. And then I ran a large event for him down at the America on Wheels Museum. I brought in an executive chef. I had Weyerbacher and Coca-Cola donate drinks. I had like 4 tables of silent auction items from anything from like famous artists to I went to all the local sports teams. They sent me autographed stuff. I don't even remember what all I had there. And I honestly, at that point in time, I didn't know anybody in the Valley. I hardly knew anybody because I was a stay-at-home mom. I hadn't done a lot of work here yet. Right. I did some work prior to getting pregnant. I worked for the Hawk radio station. And I did some sales prior to that, but I wasn't who I am now. I didn't really have the network I have now. That was a pretty big event. I had a band come up from Philly. Everything was donated. I had 0 overhead. Every penny that came in that door went straight to my friends. I forget. I think I made like $8,500 that night, which this is back in, we're talking 15 years ago. It helped a lot. It helped them with their mortgage. It helped with, there was these special supplements that he was buying that was helping him through his chemo, keeping him healthy, and they were very expensive. So it's just kind of how I started to roll when something bad happened. So I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
So
No, that's a beautiful way to pour your energy into creating something, because not only do you create the awareness, you create you create awareness for the cause, you create energy, like a lot of positivity. Even those kids seeing that, like, sure, they were putting on their sad face for their uncle, that's super cute, but they were also seeing like people really can come together. If all you see is people fighting, if all you see is negativity, people screwing each other over, you think that that's the entire world. It's great to be able to see that's great.
Well, and something good came out of it. He was well enough to attend. It was hard for him. I don't think he was there the whole night, but he was able to come with his family. They came in from New York, and they were down from Stroudsburg, and they came down and they were able to enjoy it. They were able to enjoy the band. He got to thank everybody in person. It was so important for him, and it was such a wonderful thing for him. And that over anything else was great. We had a great night out. It was a party. We had a band. It was great.
Is
So
it outdoors? Or-
no, it was inside the museum. Yeah, we had
Oh.
access to the whole museum.
Oh, wow.
It was very cool.
That's amazing.
It was very cool. So fast forward, I met Kate. We were trying to think of this the other day when she interviewed me about 12, 15 years ago. And she just started asking me questions. We were out drinking martinis at an event, and she's asking me, she goes, "Do you sing? You look like you sing." So I met her through her best friend. She was with her best friend, and I know her best friend for a long, long time. So I said, I do. I used to sing with the Baltimore Symphony Chorus back in the 90s when I lived down there. She's like, "Cool. I need you to sing. I'm doing this production. I really need some music. Can you do that for me?" I said, "Sure." She's like, "Okay, cool. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that." And then few minutes later, she goes, "Do you act? You look like you act."
You look like you act.
I'm like, I've been on stage. I've been known to. Not thinking, like, my form of acting was always in school in musicals. So I'm singing. I'm comfortable singing.
Like theater.
Yeah. So she said, "Great, because I need somebody else to act. So this production, it's the Vagina Monologues." I said, "Oh my God, awesome. That's one of my favorite plays. I saw it on Broadway. Would love to." "Great. It's in 2 weeks." I went, "Okay." So the next morning when I woke up and I was completely sober, I went, "What did I just say yes to?"
What did you sign up for?
Like, I'm cool with the music. The monologues, not so much. That is not in my comfort zone whatsoever. Like, so far outside my comfort zone. And I almost called her and said, "Look, I'll do the music. I'm not doing a monologue." But my friends and my family were pushing me. They're like, "Just do it. This will be really good for you. Get out there, have fun, push yourself." I begrudgingly did a monologue. Terrified. I was terrified. And I loved it. The next year, I think I did 2 monologues. I opened it, I closed it with music, and I did 2 monologues.
You told me about one of them. I remember you promoting that you were going to do it. So that would have been 12. Gosh, time.
A long time ago.
Is this what happens? Time just crunches on top of itself.
Yep.
Wow.
So she was
insane.
doing those to raise money for Turning Point.
Oh, okay.
I never heard of Turning Point. I said, "What is this?" And she told me, and I said, "Wow, this is great. I didn't know this existed." And my kids and I were going through a rough time at the moment. And I'm like, "This is such a great thing." So I was really, I stuck with it. I was with her for a few years. Then my friend who was playing guitar for me during the shows said to me one day, he goes, "Why don't we do our own event? We can just have a happy hour. I'll bring the band in. You can sing with the band, and we'll just raise money that way." So my best friend owned a restaurant on the South Side. So called him. I said, "I'm using your restaurant. This is what I'm going to do. I'm doing a happy hour. We're going to have a small silent auction, bring in the band in. I'll get 10% of everything you make." And that's how I made we didn't charge for people to come in. I just took 10% of everything the restaurant made. And then a very small silent auction. We didn't have many items at all. And in 2 hours, I raised over $2,000. I had no clue what I was doing. We had so many people there. I don't even know if people could hear the music. We were pushing people, like people coming in the front door were going, "Okay, so there's a patio out back," because you're way over limit with people. I think we had 200 people come through. It was only supposed to hold like 90. So we were they were in one door and out the next because we couldn't fit everybody in the building. And at this point I knew people. So everybody was coming, and then the word got out, and I was meeting people that I didn't know before. I had people reaching out to me, asking me about Turning Point and, telling me about their relationships and things that have gone wrong. And it was really eye opening for me. So I had a ball with that. And I was always constantly thinking, what's the next thing? What can I do next?
Right.
And I always had a dream to do a big event. So I had a dream to do a celebrity golf tournament. So I did that in August. I had I had a friend come in and say that he would help me with that. I'm like, that's great. And we had a really great event. It was very successful. And this year I just decided, I'm like, it was a lot of work. It's 2 days. It's a 2-day event. It's a lot of work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's the gala the first night with the auctions and everything and entertainment, and then the golf the next day. And it's exhausting. And, I've got a full-time job too. So thankfully things are usually slow in the summer. So I had a friend sit with me. We were just talking about it at the bar one night. And he said, I just don't know if I have the energy to do that this year. He said, hear me out. What about a casino night? And I said, I actually attended one of those years ago. They're so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, tell me more. And they do them they used to do them years ago for their company. So I started doing some research and shot the idea out to my team. I said, hey guys, I think I want to do this. It's one night. There's very little overhead. So golf, there's a lot of overhead. You're bringing in a lot of money. You're donating back about a third. With this, it's going to be opposite. There's very little overhead, and the majority of the money that comes in is going straight to Turning Point, which is really nice. And that's what we're running with. The company the very first company, when I just Googled looking for one just to send it to my team and go, this is what I'm talking about. I called some other companies, and then I circled back to that company. And interestingly enough, for people that don't know, Turning Point is our local center for domestic abuse. They provide a bunch of services, and we can get into that a little bit later. So when I called this woman who manages this company and started telling her what I do, she got all excited. She was in a car driving with 3 of her girls going out to an event. She said, oh my God, this is great. I love this. I'm a domestic abuse survivor. She goes, as a matter of fact, I think everybody in my car is. So all the ladies are. And she's like, where'd you come up with the name Strength and Love? I said, well, it's tattooed on my arm. I earned that. And I said, my friend bought me Strength one year. Then a year later, he bought me Love. And it's, attached. So she goes, wait, did you just say you have Strength and Love tattooed on your body? I said, yeah. Mm-hmm. She said, we all have Strength and Love tattooed on our bodies, like in their own depiction. And so we're all taking pictures and we're texting each other. Now, mind you, this is the first time on the phone with her.
Just met.
So we're like, wow, that's crazy. And then as we were talking a little more, she says, hey, we're in Long Island. I have to charge you a little bit more because of the travel. We're going to need a hotel room. So I get if you find a company that's closer and you use them, but I still want to help you. Like, call me. I can still help you through things. We can talk. And she says, one thing you want to keep in mind, that if you have a specific color scheme that you use for like whatever you do, all these companies have their own color schemes too. And they probably won't change that. Some are blue, some are green. I said, nope, that's a hard line in the sand for me. I said, mine's black and red, and then like either silver, white, whatever that derivative is. And she says, okay, you got to stop. I said, what? She said, well, that's our colors. I'm like, sold. Like, how could I not? Like, that was divine intervention.
Yeah.
They had to be the people that come out. So pretty sure what we were kind of tossing around the idea, and she's pretty sold on the idea. It was her idea to come up with. She said, all 8 people that are coming out with her, they're all domestic abuse survivors. And she said her whole team just loves this whole thing so much. She said, everybody wants to come and I cannot bring everybody. Mm-hmm. There's like 20 people. She said, I can really only bring 8. I said, well, bring them. They can pay, they can grab a ticket. They can come in and still enjoy the event. So she actually asked how she could help more. So she actually joined my team. She's one of my volunteers. She's bringing prizes to the table. She's bringing auction pieces to the table. There's a couple celebrities she's trying to get to come. She just jumped in completely. And I think I haven't met her in person yet, but every time I call her, we're on the phone for 2 hours. So we're definitely going
Yep.
to be good friends, and it's going to be a long relationship. We want to continue this through and just create this team that we just make it bigger.
hmm
And it's very exciting. I'm super excited this year. All my celebrities, like every single last one of them, is volunteering their time. They're very excited. Uh, I have an auction. I have a guy coming in to do a silent auction who will be bringing sports memorabilia and some movie memorabilia, where I will go out to anybody that's attending. Like, say, so you come, I'll be like, "Hey, Tony, who's your favorite athlete? Do you have a team? Do you have a
hmm
movie that you just like watched 25,000 times? Who are your favorite people?" And I will most likely be able to get something there at the event that you can bid on. You don't necessarily have to buy it, but you can bid on it. It'll be there. You might have a friend, or, somebody might have a son or a daughter or a husband that, it's their favorite thing for, and Christmas, this event's the end of September. So Christmas will be coming up. People could ask me to bring things that they can bid on for Christmas. So that's super cool. I'm really excited about that.
Is that what you're most excited about? I know there's levels
No,
to
well, we
this.
also have like
There's
we have,
levels to
we have
this.
2 musical groups coming in, and I'm super excited about that. I had gone to the Aardvarks reunion concert. When
Okay.
the heck was that? Was that like October or something? October.
Last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had, wasn't it? Maybe it was this year. I don't know time. Whenever it was over the winter sometime. And when my friends and I first walked into Steel Stacks, they usually have music playing down there with the bars and stuff. So I heard this amazing voice. And I peeked around the people, and my friends are trying to get drinks and are trying to talk to me. I'm like, no, don't bother me. I'm like, I'm listening. I need her. She has to be at my event. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Went up, grabbed a card, emailed her, told her what I do. Immediately, she was emailing me back like a day or two later. She said, "I'm in." She thought, I'm in. So that was very exciting for me. And she helped me find the band that will be coming in as well. I actually almost had the Philadelphia Funk Authority.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they had a gig that night, but they wanted to come. So I'll see what next year looks like. And the Aardvarks wanted to play, but I think it was their drummer that wasn't available on that date. So I have like people that are just jumping in and saying, "We really want to be part
Yeah.
of this. It's such a great cause. We're very excited and we really want to be there for you." So that part's exciting for me. I don't have to go out and like beg people to come in. I don't have to pay people to come. I don't touch any of the money. I am not a foundation, nor do I want to be. Everything goes through Turning Point. So you go to my webpage, and when you click on Contribute Now, it gets populated over to their website, and they have a QGive website up that takes the money, and everything goes through them. I don't touch a penny.
Never touches you.
I want
Yeah.
nothing to do with it.
I think that's the way to go. I mean, it's not that there are plenty of organizations that do well and they have their finances set up and that works well for them with accounting and putting everything together. But it's more like, let's just donate the money straight to them, rather than build this whole thing and put it together. Plus it helps with especially my listeners or people watching in, whether they're local or not, they'll be able to go to the website and check it out. And if they go to the website and they see, and it's just like, okay, enter your credit card information. It's like, wait, well, I don't know where this is going. It just dilutes the whole thing. So I think that's definitely important. That's awesome that you're set up that way.
Yeah, I much prefer it.
Yeah, I'm with that. So put together this event. You have a history of philanthropy, fundraising, and it just makes you mentioned that's when you first got a taste of it. So go on that for a little bit. Like the feeling that you get, is that part of what continues to propel you to raise money, to put all the effort into the events? I mean, anybody listening is going to see how well networked you are just by listening to how many times you fell back on your network to get something done or move it forward. And people definitely want to be a part of that. They're like, you're going to put in the energy, the strength to do it with or without them. So why wouldn't 8 people help? And why wouldn't 20 people over here come and put things together on this? And then the more of that attraction you have, the easier it is to get the higher level influencers involved on stuff like that, because now this thing is just massive, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah. Of course, there's a feel good thing behind it. For me, the money's great. And I just love, look, one of my events that I did, the one that I did at my friend's restaurant, I didn't even tell Turning Point I was doing it. I don't remember. It's nice to just go down and hand them a check.
Just hand them a check.
You know, here's $2
Yeah.
grand. They're like, where'd that come from? Oh, I did a thing. The money's great. I have visions of handing them like a $50,000 check or a $100,000 check one day. Like that could do so many things for them. That'd be great.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest part of this is awareness. No, for several things. One, a lot of people don't know Turning Point exists. A lot of people
Right.
need them. So, people, women, men, children, this isn't just about women and children. It's about anybody that's in an abusive relationship or an abusive situation. They don't know how to get out. They don't know what to do. They don't have the monies to do so. They don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the counseling, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
They need shelter, whatever it is that they need. They need to know, everybody needs to know this organization exists. It's very important. So the awareness is huge. I also, with this event, I wanted to get more people involved. This is the reasons I decided to do the casino night, not just because it's easier and it takes a lot off my back. It's not as stressful, so I will be able to enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wanted to get more women involved. Golf is very male driven, and this is a sensitive subject. And it's interesting because I actually had some comments about I was a man hater because I'm raising funds for Turning Point. I'm like, no, I'm kind of an abuser hater. And I have friends and family, male, that have been abused. I've never said it's only women and children, ever. So it's anybody. It can happen to anybody. I want to get more women and young adults involved. So I'm doing this 18 and older. And that's my hope, that I just get more people involved that will come and spread the word. That's how it should be for this type of event.
Yeah. You can't worry about the people that'll naysay. Like especially when you put something out there, when it's out to a bunch of eyes, you can only, you're lucky if you get half. There's going to be some people that just don't care at all, but there's going to be some people that it has to irk them. You know what I mean? It's something bothers them about it. They have to complain.
There's probably a reason they're saying
that,
right? So you got to really take a look at who that person is and what they're doing with their life.
You got too much energy over here with the people that are like, wow, this is something that I can listen to, something that I can do. When we had Heidi on, people reached out to me and just said, that was amazing. That was something that we had how can I connect with this? That's what I love about doing the podcast. There's been multiple people. I get texts after the fact. It may be a few weeks, it may be a month or two, but somebody will say, hey, we're working on putting together a curriculum for a school based on the connection because I saw them on your podcast and I asked you to reach out to them once we were finally able to connect. Now this is happening. And so it's like you just do. I mean, whether or not people are spiritual, there's no doubt that putting good energy is contagious. You create a wave of creating something positive, and people want to attach on to that because it's way too easy to get the negative stuff. It's so easy. In fact, if you want to go viral, you're better off being negative than trying to do a podcast about success. And, it's just the facts, you know, but.
Well, and, we could post all kinds of weird things around the event about abuse. I don't do that. I don't want to bring people down. I don't want them to be standing around crying, reading things. I'm celebrating, beauty and strength and love. I'm not belittling anybody. It's a celebration of getting people out of unhealthy relationships and getting them back out into society in a healthy manner so they can strive and do what they're supposed to be doing with life and not be in that negative space. So this is going to be a big party. We're going to have a lot of fun at this event. Great food. Woodstone's amazing. Anybody that came last year, all they talked about was the food and their service. They're just wonderful to work with.
I got
Absolutely
married there.
wonderful. Did you?
Yeah, beautiful venue.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Yep. 2016.
Yep, they are amazing. With the 2-day event, I was asking Tony if they were all vampires because every time, look, we were up until like 3:30 in the morning Sunday night. We're back up at 8:00 in the morning, dragging our feet, and I don't know when they sleep. I'm sure they're taking shifts and they're sleeping somewhere, but everybody was on point all the time, always there. There's always somebody. They look all chipper and new and just fresh and just come out of the shower, and I'm like, what is going on here? It's crazy to me. I don't think I would ever take it anywhere else. They've been wonderful to work with.
That's amazing to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us exactly about this event. It's happening at Woodstone. Let's get some dates.
Yep.
I'd love to hear about it.
It's at Woodstone Country Club, which is in Danielsville, for those of you who don't know where that is. It's beautiful, beautiful country club. It's on September 26th. It starts at 5:00. From 5 to 6 is our registration, our meet and greet with our celebrities. We have music playing. It's cocktail hour. Just time to chill and network, whatever it is that you want to do there. Then just prior to 6:00, we will make some announcements. Then we'll sing the anthem and the games will start. And then that's when you go off to your tables and start gambling for prizes. You don't gamble for money. That would be illegal. We don't have a license, but there's great prizes coming in that people will be gambling for. And so your admission ticket, you get, depending on how you come, there's different ways to get admission. You'll get a certain amount of chips to start with. And then you can, when you're on the floor, you can buy more chips if you want to keep gambling. If you really want to have that 65-inch flat screen TV that I got, you might want to gamble a little more so you can win that. So what you do is at the end of the time, whenever you're finished gambling, you cash in your chips for tickets, and there'll be a bag in front of each prize. So you drop however many tickets you want in the bag that you want to win.
That's super cool.
Then there'll be the silent auctions. There's always going to be something to do. The celebrities will be out on the floors playing with people, taking selfies, doing autographs. We provide a booklet with all of our sponsors in it and all of the celebrities' headshots and bios, which is where you can bring a Sharpie with you because you're going to want a Sharpie so that you can have your autographs in there. And then at 10:00 when it ends, and we'll have a couple of live auctions as well. I actually have a autographed Taylor Swift guitar coming for a live auction with a letter of authenticity.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I tried to get her to come present it, but I was told no. Let's see if she just shows up.
Sometimes you got to take what you can get.
Yeah, we'll see if she shows up, right? Maybe next year. But super cool that I have that, for people to bid on. So near the end of the night, probably, don't know the exact timeline, but like throughout the night, I think I'm going to have 2 or 3 live auctions. And then around like 9:30, we'll start slowing down, have people cashing in their stuff to start bidding on their prizes, get the silent auction prizes out to everybody. And then once everything's done at 10:00, there's a celebrity hospitality suite, which is, you have to pay to get into that. So that's where all the celebrities go downstairs to the golf simulation room, and we just chill with complimentary drinks. You can pay $100 to come hang out there. Last year, like I said, it started around 10:30. We were there till 3:30 in the morning. We can stay till 5 in the morning if we want, if people, don't want to sleep. But it's a lot of fun. I'm going to have famous cigars there too. They're going to be selling cigars. So if it's nice out, we have the deck outside, you can go outside. And then a lot of people that are coming to the hospitality suite will want cigars to come down and chill.
Yeah.
And there's a patio right outside there that we sit out on. So yeah, it's just going to be a really fun event. I'm super excited. My celebrities are excited. I have like 9 or 10 right now. And then there's a few that we're waiting on because it's too far away right now.
Right.
I have a couple actors that want to come. They just have to make sure they're not filming. They don't know exactly where they'll be.
Yeah. Obviously, if they have something going on, they have to do it. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be amazing though, if somebody turned down a check to come and be at your event? We don't want, we'll knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's understandable with anything, but 9 celebrities confirmed that are coming with an event that laid out. Well, at the time of recording, that's 2 months from now. Mm-hmm. So It's not terrible, but I could just feel all your hard work. I can't wait to see the event and see how everything goes together, because anybody wanting to be involved with it just has to have a good heart. You know what I mean? Like you're
Well,
not.
that's what I want. Yeah, I don't want anybody in there that doesn't. It's got to be a feel good thing. Everybody's got to be on board. You have to be there for the right reasons.
And then is anybody from Turning Point there, or is this another, you just go down and hand them a check?
No, they'll be there. They'll be present when they'll make one of their announcements. They'll, give their spiel, who they are, what they do, how to contact them, all that stuff. Yeah, I always ask for them to come because I want somebody to speak, and they should be present. They're getting a check. They have to be there, be present, be on board. We're using their square to take all the payments because even that night, I want nothing to do with it.
Go right. Okay. I was asking because I wasn't sure if it was like, hey, I saw this podcast, I Will Not Lose, and we hear you're doing a charity event for us. And make sure Turning Point actually
they know.
knew.
They're on board.
That's excellent. Well, you can give their website, your website, where people can buy tickets. And then I'll probably plan on having this out in about a week or two, maybe less.
Okay.
So where can people get tickets for the event?
Yep. So my website is strengthandlove.org. So it's strength, the letter N, the word love.org. When you go there, click on sponsorships. It's a big web page. It has stuff from last year's event. You can look through the gallery and kind of see what we did last year. And then there's some information on this year's event as well. And then you go to sponsorships. It lists all the sponsorships. I'm still looking for sponsors. So companies, if somebody wants a sponsor and they get they get an ad in our booklet, they get, depending on the level of the sponsorships, some of them we're getting $10,000 worth of Cumulus radio ads the month leading up. So if I have a specific sponsor come in before that, they'll be mentioned on the radio.
Excellent.
Yeah, we already have our sponsor for a billboard. So we're going to have billboards all over the valley leading up to the event. We have a TV commercial. We're at Lehigh Valley International Airport on their big screen at the luggage area.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. So when you can be a sponsor, we'll take sponsorships probably up until about 3 or 4 weeks before the event. We can probably take sponsors. We just have to make sure that we have enough time to get you in the booklet. And then,
what about just dry donations? Could they?
You can.
It
doesn't really make sense to that. You'd be better. No. Everything goes through my site.
Okay.
So if you don't want to sponsor, you just want to throw money at it, on that same page, when you click on the contribute now and you go to their QGive site, and then it says buy tickets, that's just how it's set up. So you click on buy tickets, you'll see all the sponsorships. At the very bottom, you can just add in a number if you want to. So I have had people do that because we had some different, like for the TV commercial, it wasn't a sponsorship that I had out there. We went to someone specifically and said, do you want to do this? So that's where you give that money. You can just put in whatever dollar amount you want. And at the bottom of the sponsorship page, there's a block that shows the 3 different ways you can come as an attendee. So you can come for $150, $300, or $500. You get different amounts of chips, and 2 of them come with VIP entrance. The VIP is a section of the room that will be roped off. There'll be 2 tables in there where the bids will be higher. It's just a different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm mad at it. Yeah. That's beautiful. I can't wait.
It's going to be fun. You got to come.
What is the date again?
September 26th.
September 26th. And doors open at 5 p.m. and cocktails at 6.
Well, no, 5 to 6 is your cocktail hour.
Got it.
There's cocktails all night, bro. Yeah. Yeah, but you'll get a couple, you get some drink tickets that you can use like whenever. But that first hour is really just to get in there, get registered, get everything situated, start meeting. We'll bring the celebrities in and for you to meet them, and you can have drinks with them.
This is going to be a wild night.
Yeah.
Excellent. Do you want to take a look in your notes, see if there's anything you wanted to drop real quick, and then we'll start to land the plane. We've been going about an hour. Yeah.
So I'll drop a few names, if that's okay, that I'm going to have there. Yeah. My top celebrity at this point in time is Victor Colicchio. He's an actor, best known for his role on Goodfellas. He was also in The Sopranos, which is one of my favorite all-time shows. He's talking to a couple of his best friends who are also actors, and we're hoping that they are not filming and that they will be showing up.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, Eric Murdoch, he's former NBA. He'll be there. Andre Williams, he's become a good friend of mine. He is also, he's former NFL. Doug Clemens, he's former Phillies. Al Cole is a former heavyweight and cruiserweight boxing champ.
Ton of athletes. Wow.
Yeah. Wayne Johnson, he's a movie producer, TV and movie producer. Chris Fried is he's a local celebrity. He's a comedian. He's been seen on Saturday Night Live and Conan O'Brien, along with a few other shows. My first friend in the whole world, my friend Brian Balthazar. He's a TV personality. He's a host and executive producer, and he's been in front of the camera many times on different shows. Like he's been on the Today Show, MSNBC, NBC, NBC Daily News. He's been on the Wendy Williams Show 1.5 million times.
Wow.
I like would turn on the TV randomly, and I'm like, that sounds like Brian. And then Ian, and I'm probably going to say his last name wrong. I'd hate to even say it. Riccaboni. It's Riccaboni. I feel bad. I don't know how to say his name. He's a friend of Chris's, and he's going to be coming. He's a longstanding host of Ring of Honor Wrestling. He appears for AEW on TNT and TBS, and he's an English voice for New Japan Pro Wrestling on AXS TV. So
international.
Those are my celebrities at this moment in time. And a few that I'm waiting on, to see if there's a few household names that I'm hoping they'll be able to come. And again, if they're not filming, they'll be there.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Wow. Crazy networking, awesome gifts, autographed Taylor Swift guitar, guitar autographed by Taylor Swift. So that's going to make someone extremely happy.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is going to be good. Very cool. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Thanks you for tuning into another episode of I Will Not Lose. We had Lisa Meszler on, philanthropist and commercial realtor.
Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of I Will Not Lose podcast. To support the show, visit iwillnotlosepodcast.com. You can subscribe to your favorite podcast player, share the episode link, leave a comment. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. And if you're listening in and can't see the QR code for donation, go to tothedesigner.com/links, and there's instructions to donate up there. Thanks so much.